We address mental issues, not from a medical point of view, from psychological point of view, where it is important that you understand how the quality of your life, the quality of your life experiences is hinged on the mental model, even as we ensure that you have a mental peace, and mental peace brings you a place of mental stability. You can't find stability external. Your money, your relationship, your accumulation, your association cannot give you mental peace or mental stability, which is also improve the quality of your decision that impacts the quality of your life. So what we bring here is to bring you tools to navigate detours, navigate obstacles. And obstacles are really not obstacles. It's because in some level of life, in your lower level, when you have not advanced, you don't know how to utilize obstacles, because obstacles are great allies that aid you into advancement. They refine you, they shuffle you, they brings you to wellness. And without obstacles, you really can't grow. Without people who poses as limitations, you won't be able to create enough momentum to break out of that barriers. So here we challenge status quo, we redefine standard of life, because if you don't have standard of life, you know how the good Bible say that when the enemy come, the Spirit of God raise the standard. And it means that when you are under, you have not raised your standard. And the amplification of your standard, the upgrade of your standard will determine the upgrade of your life. Stop seeking for life upgrade when you do not set standard, principles, order, controls that discipline you and restrict you, that forge your psychological well-being, mental well-being, social well-being, and all that into it. So here we redefine standard, and we welcome people into a higher life, into a nobler life, into a higher, bigger you. You know, when the scripture said, greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. So when the world keep overwhelming you, it means that you have not been able to access your greater self, on whether you have been able to connect to that higher self. And so this corner is to be able to give you a step of you that you've not existed, and to challenge and to inspire you, so that you live above only. I wake up every morning and I tell myself I live above. I'm above only. And the reason of doing that is to reemphasize and to reinforce, and to be able to command my whole system to ensure that they are in that flow state of above life. So we invite you to above life. Above all, what we want you to have is to have a fuller life, a fortunate life, a balanced life, a well-structured life, that give you a neutral mind. We're taught to be positive-minded. That's to the extreme. And that's why you're attached to preferences, attached to ideals, attached to concepts, and attached to belief system. And because you are not flexible, when you meet something outside and you don't have the mental models to navigate, that's where you feel that you are overwhelmed. That's why you feel that you are stressed out. That's why you feel that you're hurting. But here we'll be able to give you tools and that makes you autonomous, that makes you to give you your capacity and the competence to be able to drive connections with whatever it is. So when you hear that he prepared a table before you in the presence of your enemies, what it means that, you see, you need your enemies as well too. You need a level of stress to be able to build strong momentum and to build their capability. That's where mental toughness comes in. So if you're hurt, if your friends are hurting, if you know anybody who is mentally drained, and want to give up, invite them to this forum. We'll bring you to a presence, we'll bring you to completeness, we'll bring you to wholeness, where you are calibrated, refined, if you can listen very well. So today we're going to be inventing one tool that people don't talk about a lot. And it's a critical component if you're a person of faith and if you're a person of advancement. This tool, you need it, because you require it to be able to unleash every imprisonment, every blockage. And once you get this tool, whether as a leader, whether as a partner, no matter how toxic your relationship you think is, you can redeem it. Because it's not about the other person. It's about the kind of mental tools that you are deploying. So go invite your friend, share this link. It will be a good journey. I'm excited about it. I found liberation already. I found freedom around it. It's more like uncaged out of those ignorant. I'm happy about it. And honestly, that's what here it means. And finally, we bring you to where you dwell in goodness. So when you dwell in goodness, your method of your perception has changed. You can no longer define things from that place of uncertainty. But because you dwell in goodness, it's able to characterize this, it's able to mold you, it's able to influence you, it's able to redirect how you define things. Because honestly, your major problem is definition and perception, how you perceive and define. And as we go through this journey, realize that you don't need to be better. You don't even need to improve where you are. You don't need to wish, you don't need to desire, you don't need to aspire to be a better person. Once you are desiring to be a better person, you are in trouble. And that's the pressure you are in. I want you to be better, I want to be better. That's futuristic. And life doesn't work from that. You have to recognize and realize that you are a better person. You don't need anything to make you. That's a lie that they have sold to us. You cannot say, I want to be faithful. You will never be faithful. You have to recognize that you are faithful, which is a state to walk and deploy and express it. When people say, I want peace, you can't find peace. Because peace is not in wanting. Peace is in recognition, is in recognizing, is in realization, is a responsibility, is a relationship, and is an expression. So stop saying, oh, I want to be noticed. No, you will never be noticed. You can't say, I want to be healed, or when I'm healed. You're postponing it. It's anti-faith. It's anti-faith. And of course, to say without faith, it is impossible to please the Creator, God. So most people live in future or live in the past. And that's a burden and that's an illusion. So today, I welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. It's going to be calming. It's going to be refreshing. It's going to bring a new insight. It's going to be liberating. It's going to upgrade your belief system. And once your system is upgraded, because it's if you believe all things are possible. And I trust that by the end of the journey, you'll find this mental model that I found, that thousands are using, scientifically proven. Science are already catching up with this as well, too, because now they realize that it's not in the pursuit, it's in the recognition and deployment. It's not in the desire, it's not in the wish, it's not in the wanting. It's not even in the effort. It's simple as recognition and realization. Then you create a relationship. And that relationship begins to define and redefine everything that you have known. So today we're going to deploy what we call the strength of surrender. The strength of surrender. The strength of surrender. Every time you enter into an argument, you realize that you lose a lot of energy, and energy is a scarce commodity. When you go into an argument to win, you're already losing. Why? Every argument is sponsored by a certain belief system or belief structure, or is funded by the state of the other person, and they are seeing what you're seeing from a different lens. We've talked about lens of life. The lens of life is the most potent tool that you also need to also engage, because your attention will determine your energy, and your energy will influence your resource. So if your resources are depleted, it is directed to where you're paying attention and how you're paying attention, because attention is such a powerful thing and it affects how you feel. So you see, when you are in an argument, the person is probably arguing from a place of desire, from a place of recognition, from a place of hurt, from a place of need, whatever. So that is a very strong driver to their position. And you arguing for them to hear you, they are not hearing you, they are hearing themselves. That's why it says in the world there are many voices. None of them are without significance. And all those voices are containing. But you see, what if I tell you that every achiever, every great successful person, all the people who are great, who live peaceful, they are all losers? What a paradox. And I can tell you with certainty that great warriors, great achievers are the most great losers. And that's why you see that life is not about gaining, life is about subtraction. For you to go far, I mean, if you talk about the law of 10x, 10x means that you are focusing your 80% on what is crucial and outsourcing 20%. But people now say multiplication. I don't deal with multiplication. I deal with quantum. And quantum means losing. If you're not ready to lose in this life, you are going to be bounded, restricted, inhibited, and stunted completely. And if you're going to rise successfully, in fact, if you're going to live authentically, you have to be a loser. Because on a daily basis, there are things that are going to confront that authenticity, that vow. If you're going to live powerfully, what is powerfully? Ability to engage your inherent choice. You have to be a loser. If you're going to live purposefully, you're going to be a loser. If you're going to live meaningfully, you're going to be a loser. If you're going to live compassionately, you have to be a loser. And if you're going to live lovingly, you're going to be a loser. And so, as you become a loser in life, people might think that you're weak, but no, you're a reservoir of unparalleled strength. Because you see, once you start losing, you're lost. You lost the argument of life. The strength of argument is participation. But once you disengage from participating in any argument, and this argument could be argument of illness, argument that your boss is toxic, argument that your office is toxic, argument that your brothers, everybody hates you, argument that the world is not a safe place. Those are arguments. They carry energetic descriptions. And now, once you cannot find the energy, what you have happened, you have disconnected from that energy. So the greatest tool you're going to deploy today to win back your husband, to win back your friend, to win back your sister, your brothers, because you've been engaging in argument, because you want to win, you want to be heard, you want to be seen, you want to be recognized, you want to be valued. Those are arguments. But the moment you lose interest on those things, like I've lost interest by external validation and external approval, you realize that you are gaining strong momentum because you've disengaged from that argument. I don't know what argument you are facing today. Can I tell you? You are the one empowering it. And it's very cheap to resolve it. Very free. Entirely free. How do you mean, Patrick? Lose it. Lose it. Once you lose the idea, it's gone. What is sustaining it is a belief, is a construct. Because you see, every argument is funded by stories. And stories are so powerful because the state of your mind is conditioned or influenced by the story energizing it or the story that is inhabiting it. And that's what fuels it. And most of the time when you feel that you're hot, the story in your heart is actually weak. You know, scriptures are very powerful. You say if you reject in front of a wicked person, if a righteous man who is righteous reject in front of a wicked man, he say he's like a fountain, a rotten fountain. He's like a polluted fountain. And once you are polluted within, then you find out that everything outside is polluted. And you know what? Because of argument, you can't lose it. And so fundamentally, we're going to be hammering on these fundamentals. Can you lose it? Are you sure you can lose it? Your entire freedom is hinged on lose it. Let it be your mantra from today. Lose it. This argument, I'm losing it. Initially, you're going to feel like you are indifferent. No, it's not indifferent. Indifference is I don't care. Meanwhile, you're hurting. You are still engaging on that internally. It's not silent. No. There's a difference between silent and stillness. Stillness means I'm not engaging, but I'm quiet. But silence means I'm not communicating verbally, but I'm engaging within. And that's where you harbor resentment, anger, and all that. These are the intricacies of this. Silence does not mean that you are still. But still changes the equation. That's why I say be still and know that I'm God. You are changing the focus from self, which is what we're going to be doing, because the greatest problem you have is self-centeredness and selfishness and self-seeking. And that's why you need to lose self. What are you going? Am I going to be popular? Will everybody be running around me? I like to be run down. I like to be the floor mat. And floor people are people who rule the world. Go and check. Including leader. Until a leader become a floor mat. If you don't lose it to the floor mat structure, then you are going to be defending, you are going to be proving, you are going to be fighting, you are going to do all kinds of things. And all these things are really why you are losing. But once you lose, you are seeking reputation. Reputation is outside your control. Reputation means ROE, put, action. What it means that the action that is referenced consistently, that's how people create. So reputation is outside you. So if you're always angry, you have a reputation to be an angry man. If you're always fault finding, Oh, you are an excellent person. You find everything. That is what you're putting. That's what you're known for. That's what reputation means. I'm going to be breaking it down. Write it down. Think about it line by line. These are divine wisdom. Let me explain it. Let me bring the context of losing it. So there's a woman who had another friend, and they had an argument. They had a child. Both of them had one child and one child. For some reasons, they have agreed that because of difficulty, let them probably sell the child, the children, so that they can make up. Cut this long story short, the other one had, while the other one was sleeping, took the child, and the other guy killed her own. And they went to a king. And the king, it's okay, hey, they were in an argument. The guy said, the other one who lost the child was advocating, can we slice the child? That's an argument, typical argument. But the wise woman, who is a club member, who understands the power of losing, say, you know what? Give it to her. No argument. And the king said, hey, that child belongs to this person. She lost. That's what we're saying, that great winners are great losers. Every time you want to gain, it's heavy. Go and ask the footballers, people engaged in sports. They are losing. They lose comfort. They embrace pain. But you see that they are achievers. And that's why they are actually champion. Because people who are gaining sleep, gaining comfort, gaining all that, they're already in a different argument. But they've lost the argument of life, knowing that it is their restriction, their discipline, their know that will enable and activate their winning. They don't stay with where their emotions are drained. Think about the people who do, is it 15,000 meters or 1,500 meters? Have you noticed that they've lost every sense of flesh? But look at you now. You eat everything that you're going, comfort. You're not losing, you're gaining. So gainers gain weight, losers lose weight. And it's as simple as that. The reason why you're sustaining that quarrel with your spouse is because you want to gain. The day you wake up and say, I'm the floor mat. And this is also why you see that in football, people who fight to win are vulnerable to lose. But people who want to lose play the game with a place of certainty and a zero. You see, they gain momentum to up. This is the end of fight of life. You are the one sponsoring because you want to gain visibility. Great men who gain visibility doesn't gain visibility by fight. They gain it by true losing their time to study, to become a mastery of what they are doing, losing the time not to. It's just a loss. The reason why you didn't make that first class because you were gaining life, not losing life. If you look at first class people, you're likely going to look at them, they are antisocial because they are losing the other parties and other showcasing, moving here and there. And that's why third class people who gain a lot from school eventually lost in school, because that's why it shows over there. And it's a simple thing. And you see, we know why people loses marriage, good guys and good women, because they never want to lose. The moment you fight to gain, then you're already losing. You got to be a loser in order to gain. Paradox. This is the paradox. This is the This is very liberation. This is what will liberate you from every fight. If your boss is a fighter, don't engage, lose, stay in the lose position. He say, well, mash me. Okay, mash me. Let me be the rock. It's okay to be the rock. After all, it's just what it is. So are you gaining life or are you losing? This changed my entire structure. I don't want to lose. I don't want to get into argument. Let's bring it again. Every time you defend a cause by verbal engagement or by emotional expression, you lose. One of the reasons why men lose in relationship a lot is defending their territories. Oh, I'm the man of this house. You're defending a territory with an energy of force. It kills you. Have you noticed if you have a very quiet, gentle spirit wife, right? All your verbals, she will see your weakness. She will see the access to your helplessness. In fact, what will speak louder is your insufficiency and your inadequacy. And that's how men are losing badly. No, it's okay. That's how they are losing badly. You don't defend by verbal expression, by emotional intensity. No, you define by a consistent action. When you withdraw from emotional expression, you lose emotional expression of anger, of resentment, of dissatisfaction. You begin to amplify your consistent, devoted actions that is piloted by your value system. When you stop saying sorry, which is part of defense, when you say more sorry, if you say less sorry and act more, you are believed more in your consistent action than your defense. You see, defense is shows weakness. Great men don't defend. Great women don't defend. So they are not engaging emotional expression or verbal expression or even mental expression. They are rooted in action consistently. And that's what they show. And it's quite difficult to work in this concept because it shows that, who is speaking the most? It is not the loudest person in the organization that eventually win. Most of them, they are insignificant people who of course, this is how high flyers do. High flyers are such a great losers. They don't look prominent. When everybody's talking, they don't talk. Everybody will give all their ideas. Some high flyers will not be seen. They will just ask some basic question based on the aggregation of all the opinion and utilize it to answer a very important thing. They won't talk. They don't want to be seen. But their question, their action, based on the aggregate of all the opinions, is what they summarize, because it's not in the volume of work. It is in the summary of ideas that make impact. That's the very line you need to understand. It's not in the volume of word. It's in the summary of ideas that leave lasting impact. That is exactly what winning is all about. Of course, the scripture is so powerful. It says something very fundamental. Even a foolish man is counted among the wise if he keeps silent. And that's why you see, Father, it's not a hard people that win war. It's the softer people. Because the softer people, they absorb, but yet they're never absorbed. But you see, the hard people, You absorb them, and then they are trapped. That's why when you're angry, you're absorbed by anger. So stop defending. It's time for you to stop defending. Live by your values. Let your values speak. See, when you go to office today or next day and they are gossiping about you, don't reply, don't defend. I utilized that. I mean, when I had crisis in my marriage, everybody was talking. I never said anything to anybody. People gossiped, people talked. I never engaged. I never defend. If you ask me, I'll tell you, hey, I was the worst guy. And I have my reasons. If I was that great guy, I wouldn't have been in that mess. But that's why you see I'm doing what I'm doing, because it comforted me that we might comfort others. Because of what defense does is what I call the ABC of life. They always find accusers. They never look inside. And once you're accusing people, you have lost the game. Be it that they call blaming. And they always blame. Blame is a sign of weakness. The greatest weakness you have is blaming. And the other one is complaining. You see, this ABC, accusation, blaming, and complaining, they are all signs of weakness. Because you see, they are always external. But hey, I just say, you know what? I'm the one at cause. And it gave me a deeper reflection to look at how I contributed to it. My responsibility, what I should have done. And yeah, people might think, hey, he's a bad guy. It's okay, it's their opinion, I'm not going to fight it. It's all based on assumptions. But when they meet you consistently and you have remained so resolute in your value disposition, you don't need their conviction, you don't need their defense. But your actions will begin to rewire, will begin to rewrite the story that they have assumed, in that assumption they have acquired unverified. So you see, that's why you see there's no need to defend. Let your action do the defense for you. And that ends it. It's tough, but that's what it is. Let your actions speak louder. So once you stop defending, you stop engaging. There's no stimulation. You neutralize the energy. And once the energy has been neutralized, meaning like the barrier has been created, you realize that there's no need to defend. So stop defending. Please don't defend. And the last one, stop proving. Don't prove. Don't prove by verbal, by anger, especially in relationship. Whether it's a boss, colleague to colleague, we all want to prove. It's a waste of energy. And that's why you see, if you're engaging a lady, you are going to prove you're the guy. You're worried. And that's why most ladies help guys. Let them live their authentic life. Let them live their meaningful life. Help them to live purposefully. Don't put the standard too high for them. They begin to prove. They are never in their natural estate, because now they have to galvanize all the forces within them just to get that person. And that's why when we eventually get you, we lose strength, because it was a borrowed identity that we're functioning from. Don't prove anything. If somebody is oppressing you, can I help you? Go and read Ecclesiastes, I think 5:8:5 or 5:8. He said, if you see oppression in a certain providence, in a certain place, anywhere you are, he said, don't marvel, don't worry. There's a higher authority and another higher authority. We all submitted to a different authority, because that's what they call delegated authority. It's only God that is absolute authority. So you see, you're being oppressed. Unfortunately, you contribute to that oppression when you are negatively reacting from that impulse. What it does is damage your emotion. And the reason why you are defining people from a place of toxicity or from how this person is wicked is because there's wickedness in you. And so what happens is that the action of people, they are pulling it out. Of course, the deep collect the deep. So what we do is a law of projection and law of reflection. So the person now becomes a mirror that mirrors what is inside of you. What are you saying, Patrick? You are the one energizing that operation. Just accept that person. That's what they call total acceptance. This person is like this. It's coming from an oppressed state and knows the language of oppression. Has been mentally wired to oppress because he is insecure. Because only insecure people that prove that they are superior. So that superior engagement is actually what you're fighting. And that person cannot come out of that horse. It is you that will dilute it by soft answer, turn it away wrath. With soft answer, are kings fully persuaded, not hard. These are silent wisdom, but that if you give consideration to it, you realize that all this stimulation and engagement are lack of foolishness, because my people perish for lack of knowledge. Stop proving, stop defending. Those are stimulants that stimulate, and you create those ripple energy. We've talked about 3 things you should do. Stop defending, stop proving, and let's start the journey of surrender, the strength of surrender. The strength of surrender. And typically it might look like it seems to be you are weak, but I like to read a very strong scripture in 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7. I like always to make a reference to what is central to every one of us so that we can know. 1 Peter chapter 5 verse 7. Verse 7 says, casting somebody. It says, first of all, verse 6. I love the way this translation said it. It says, humble yourself. Therefore, you see, pride is not what you think about pride. Pride is when, if you get upset about what is done to you, you are proud. You're very proud of yourself. Because you're self-significant. It is what is making you act the way you're acting. In fact, just saying that you are oppressed means that you are a proud person. You are recognizing your effort, not God's effort. It takes humility to know that there is a God who works in you both to will and to do according to his own will, not according to your will. So you see, what hurts you is your will that has been dented by another person's will. So it's a function of contradictions of wills. So surrender starts from the place where you recognize humility. In fact, when you see that you are angry about what is being done, it's pride. Because what it means that your opinion and your preferences and your idea is superior to the other person. And that's actually the conflict. So it's a question of two proudful people that are engaging. And what is the outcome? Is a fall. And that's why we are falling in relationship and work and life. Say, humble yourself, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that he may exalt you at the proper time. If you see what I'm saying, The greatest losers are humble people who recognize their insufficiency in order to tap into the divine sufficiency. That is the greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. So we quote the scriptures, but we don't know the implication of the scripture. And that's why you're hurting. And that's why you are still in that place of oppression and discouragement, and it diffuses your complete potential. But it now says, casting all your care on him because he cares about you. Let me do it again. This is very interesting. It may not make sense to you because you don't. What this guy is talking about? Every time you're angry, you are proud. Every time there's resentment, you're proud. But he say, humble what? Yourself, therefore, under the Almighty, the mighty hand of God, so that he may exalt you. So that he may exalt you. He may exalt you. And that's losing. Humility means I'm losing. Humility means lose it. But you're going to get back to it. And life, that's how life, that's why it says more blessed to give than to receive. So we talk about more blessed to give in terms of financial, in terms of, no. What it means, can I give this person, like, I have given you peace against your boisterous nature. And if husbands and wife could understand this, you realize that it's your pride that makes you feel that you are being cheated. Patrick, what kind of dimension is this? But that's what the scripture is saying. Because see, once you don't humble, you can't cast your care. You retain your care, you fight your fight, you prove it, you defend it. You engage in that argument, you become argumentative. So number one, that's why you're arguing. The argument is a sign of pride. Because you want to feel that you need to be heard, you need to be seen, you feel like, oh, your opinion has been tampered over there. That's pride. My husband do not recognize my strength. You don't need to prove it. You don't need to defend it. You don't even need to get into an argument. You see the sequence. You need to lose it. Humility means that let my action consistently deploy who I am. Because once you miss it, you're not authentic. So surrender starts from that concept. Casting. Because he cares. You cannot care for yourself enough. Really, that's what it means. And this can be liberating. Very liberating. The moment I got this, casting all your cares on him because what he cares about you. There's a higher sense, there's a higher essence, there's a higher intelligence that cares more about me. And I don't need to engage in your fight. I don't engage in defending. I don't need to prove anything to you. Let my action, consistent action, devoted action that is aligned to my core value, speak, defend, prove. And that's how I'm going to engage. Yeah, so let's run it. A hurt is basically self-neglect. Write down. Hurt is self-neglect. And you see, self-neglect is really, you forget yourself in the midst of oppression, in the midst of bad treatment. Let me tell you, when you react in bad treatment, you have not put a boundary of bad treatment. In fact, you have not exemplified how to be treated. So you have just only respond to how you should be treated. And that's why it's not an argument. So if you tell me it's like, okay, I think I deserve better, the person that is acting from non-deserving, but you do not have to fight or prove or argue. No. Stay cool. Stay cool. Soft answer turned that way rough. With soft words are king. Say in this soft way you absorb it and never be absorbed by them. Once you are not soft and hard, Hard people are absorbed easily than soft people, because you cannot predetermine how they are going to do, because they are so flexible. You don't show emotion. You are not emotion. So hurt is self-neglect. So we're going to tap it into what we call self-forgetfulness, and which is really key, where we're going to get. And if you do get that concept, you realize that you're on top. And why do you get into arguments, defending, proving? You want to control life. That's basically based on attachment of your ideas and opinion that you think that is superior. But Job says something: I'm not inferior to you. What you know, I know. Is your superiority, which is self-centeredness, which is self-focus, self-defense. Self-defense is destructive. If you are so conscious of, you need to think about how to defend the other person to find defense. Because why? For instance, if somebody is acting out of character, you have to defend that person is being hurt, because hurt is self-neglect, and the sign of hurt, sign of bad character, is a function of the state of that person. They are functioning from that state. They cannot give what they don't have. Self-neglect means that you have left your peace and acquire chaos from another person. That's basically what, when you say I'm in a toxic, you are focusing on external validation or approval, external influence, external trigger. No. The best way to do it, that's why I say guide your heart, for out of it are the issues of life. Life doesn't happen to you. Life happens from you. You are the commander. You are the center. You are the root. You are the ground. That's where you are regulated. And that's when you come back home to the place of space. Honestly, give it a thought. It's the deliverance. You know, when people want to be lay hand and fast for 21 years, 3 days, and dry fasting, do you know you go back to that place? But life is functioned by knowledge. That's why I say a righteous man is delivered by knowledge, not by fasting. It's good to fast. It's good to do all that self-improvement, but you need to come to realization and recognition of fundamental truth and principles. Once you deploy them, you realize that your life, self-neglect is the root of all these mental issues. And that's why people engage in substances, self-neglect. That's why you find a habit, probably shopping, overthinking, crowd involvement. You need to be in the midst of crowd for you don't want to be alone. That's because you have neglected yourself. You are so powerful. You are an entity. You are a city. You are your own country. You are that independent self. And the more holistic you become in your approach, because you see, the problem about this is what I call the selective mind. The selective mind have sweetness, so they're attached to sweetness. So they want to control everything into sweetness. It doesn't happen that way. They don't talk about vulnerability. They are not neutral. So when you become neutral, you begin to utilize your vulnerability and your sweetness as a component of advancement and enrichment. But once you are attached to vulnerability, you see your language change. Everything that you project will be project that of self-victim, self-pity. And everybody will return back self-pity, because you become the real rat. Now you are defending, proving, and arguing. But hey, the day you realize that you are an entity, complete country, independent, you know what? You become whole, and you begin to realize that oppression will end. You are the one funding the oppression, because that oppressor is coming from a place of weakness. So he had to prove and defend. That's why bullies, if a bully is bullying you and you are reacting, he continues to bully you. If you defend a bully, he will continue to try you. To defeat that bully, ignore him. Now he will continue to engage, and his engaging, he's dispersing his energy. He becomes weak. The day you hit him back, that is the end of that bully, because you're coming from an unpredictable state. If your boss is toxic, buy him a gift. I tell you, get a gift and give to anybody. Just say, hey, I am so compassionate around you. I love you and all that. Just send him love. One day I'm going to talk about the diamond love. And when you hit the diamond love, you're unbreakable because it operates on a higher frequency and a higher vibration. Your energy is a different love. And when you start operating here, you neutralizes all your preferences, ideas. You come in the moment. And as you come in the moment, it comes with gratitude. So self-neglect is the major problem of mental health. Psychologically, emotionally, mentally, financially, and all that is self-neglect. Now, so self-neglect, you see, people don't surrender even to the higher authority, like in terms of Christ or in terms of the Holy Spirit. And the funny thing, they claim that as many as led by the Spirit of God, they are called the sons of God. Are you led by the Spirit into anger? Are you led by the Spirit into resentment? Are you led by the Spirit to label that your boss? In fact, how dare you label somebody as toxic? It's about this thing open. Let me tell you, it is your self-centeredness. Because when you replace judgment to compassion, you realize that something happened in your body. We are too critical. When the Bible said, do not judge, because what you judge comes back to you. It's exactly what it is. So, few souls, I wrote something very critical. Few souls understand what God will accomplish in them if they were to abandon themselves, which is where we're going. Self-abandonment, self-forgetfulness. It is the critical power to overcome. Abandon themselves unreservedly to Him, and if you were to allow His grace to mold you according to His will, not according to your preferences or your will. Trust in the Lord. I read this in Proverbs chapter 3. Trust in the Lord completely and do not rely on your own opinions. With your heart, rely on Him to guide you, and the will He will lead you wherever you intend to go. He will lead you. So now I'm talking to you. If you're a believer and you're leading yourself to defend, to get into argument, to prove, you've not cast your cares, and He doesn't care. And that's why it's called self-abandonment. So as I wrap it up, how do I not engage? By proving, by defending, and by arguing. Self-forgetfulness. What is self-forgetfulness? It's a liberation from constant self-scrutiny. Because what really happens is that your self-scrutiny does His word that is a defying. That scrutiny is major problem. So self-forgetfulness is liberation from self-constant scrutiny and ego-driven concerns, leading to various psychological, relational, spiritual benefit. It involves a shift in focus from personal anxieties and self-image to well-being of others and a larger purpose for us as a spiritual sum. 1. It is self-abandonment. Self-abandonment is not about self-neglect. Self-abandonment is have no opinion over opinion. But think about the people's opinion to know where they are coming from, what is informing their decision. once you can understand the source of their argument, why they want you to engage, then you can cut short. Because it's understanding, it's deeper understanding that what we lack, and because we do not have the patience. That's why I say without patience you lose your position. That's back to self-neglect. Today, just experiment it. Go back to the place that have troubled you. Accept it. It's called radical acceptance. Stop controlling. Your control is based on your attachment to your preferences and opinion and belief and your wishes and desires and want. But when you stop neglecting yourself in your wholeness, in your completeness, and you forget yourself every time there's an opposition, forget yourself. That's casting your care to him. That's coming into the Christ-centeredness. That's what you say. That's why I say, come unto me, he that is laden, release it to me. That's letting go of your preferences, letting go of your opinion, and that's actually what they call spiritual poverty. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for they shall see God. What does that mean? You are not possessed by your idea. You are not possessed by your preferences. You are not possessed by your want or need or validation or approval or acceptance. No. You're not possessed by the attitude of having to be seen or to be important or significant. No. You are empty. And that's where he can find an anchor. And that anchor becomes where you rest. You see, every time you're defending, you're not resting. Every time you're blaming, you're not resting. Every time you're anxious, you're not resting. Every time panic comes, you're not resting. Every time you're labeling a situation, you're not resting. You're engaging. And that's why I say fight the good fight of faith. It is not about physical engagement or stimulus or email, social media. Come on. I mean, people. I have a story line, and I'm going to end that. So, a particular gentle person was on my case. Keep pumping me, DM me. Every time I go to radio to speak, the next thing I'll hear criticism. Oh, now, I didn't call it criticism really. I was just asking that person's expression. And was, send me all kinds of things. I never engage, I never defend, I never call, because that is expression and not my expression. I forgot myself in that sense. I didn't engage, and I went into oblivion. I didn't defend, I didn't accuse, I didn't blame, I didn't label. And till date, I don't know where that person is. I wasn't indifferent. I respected their opinion. That's their opinion. I forgot myself. When you neglect yourself in that position, you start engaging. And the moment you engage, you escalate it. And that's why tension comes in. And that's actually what is killing relationship, beautiful relationship. Because we're going to enjoy this life is rest on self-forgetfulness. Abandon yourself. And once you can learn this tool of engagement, you're not going to defend, you're not going to argue, you're not going to prove, because those things are instruments of weak self. I don't know whether I've helped somebody. I'm excited about it, because you know why? There's nothing to prove. I'm a loser, but I'm gaining life. And that's what people think I'm losing when they steal my money. I ignore them. But hey, my source is inexhaustible. We don't defend people's idiocy. We will not neglect that we are blessed. We're equipped with everything good. That our blessing is beyond expectations. Thank you so much. Please stop engaging in argument, improving, and in defending. And that's where you have the full, peaceful, tranquil life. Keep raising the standard, keep dwelling in goodness, challenge yourself today to be a better soul. Thank you so much.